Alright, welcome to a video on addition and subtraction of integers. This has been my first video in a while, so I apologize at the beginning for it not being as clean as some of the other videos you may watch and my handwriting being a little messy. Got to get used to using the stylus again. So, I understand this is a very basic idea, but I want us to review it just in case there may be one or two things in here that you might have forgotten. So, I am not stopping you from using a calculator whenever you're doing addition, subtraction, multiplication, division. I do not stop you from doing that in my class. But I do want us to look at these different cases so we can kind of use the calculator wisely. Because we have these four cases here whenever we're adding or subtracting. And I want to take a look at them. Because the calculator only does what we want it to do. So if we make a mistake, the calculator makes the mistake too. So this is kind of a checking it. So case 1. In case 1, we have our red line, which is our start. So we're starting with a positive, and we are adding a positive. So we're starting with a positive number, and we're making it more positive. In case 2, we have a positive number, and it's going smaller. It's either going to be a smaller positive number or it's going to be a negative number. Now there's two instances where this happens. This happens when we have a positive number and we add a negative number, or we have a positive number and we subtract a positive number. Case 3. We have a small number, a negative number, and it gets bigger. It either becomes a bigger negative or it becomes a positive number. This happens whenever we have a negative and we add a positive, or we have a negative and we subtract a negative. Case 4, we have a negative and we're going to add a negative, and that makes it go from being a negative to more negative, or we have a negative and we subtract a positive. So those are the four cases that we're going to use. So now let's get into adding and subtracting. So, we're going to start with addition. Now when we do this, I'm going to use the number line. But like I said, if you know what it is, you don't have to follow the number line. Or if you really have to use a calculator for these, you can use a calculator for these. As we get further into this class, you will have to use a calculator because we're going to get into some pretty big numbers and you kind of want to do them quickly. So, addition. Number 1, we have 5 plus 2. So if we look back at the cases, we have a positive and adding a positive. So a positive adding a positive is case 1. So that means it's going to get bigger. And if we look at our number line, I'm going to put this in red. So we start at 5, and then we're going up 2. So 1, 2, so that is 7. Number 2, it says 7 plus negative 3. So, if we go back here, it's 7 plus negative 3. So we're adding a negative, so that's this case here. So we're going to start as a positive and then we're going to get smaller. So 7 is here, and we're adding there we go. We're adding negative 3, so we're getting smaller. So 1, 2, 3, and that's 4. So we get a 4. Number 3, it's negative 4 plus 2, so it's a negative adding a positive. So negative adding a positive is here. So it looks like we're going to start small, but we're going to get bigger. So negative 4 is down here, and we're going to add 2, so we're going to go 1, 2, and we get negative 2. And last we have negative 2 plus negative 3, negative 2 plus negative 3, that's here, negative adding a negative, so we're at negative 2, and we're going to add negative 3, which means we're getting smaller, so 1, 2, 3, and we are at negative 5. Okay, so subtraction. Now I'm not going to go all the way back to that slide again because we've seen the cases. I'm just going to go through and do these. So 6 minus 3. So we're subtracting something. We're subtracting a positive. So subtracting a positive means you're going to get smaller. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3. And we get a positive 3. Next we have negative 2 minus 3. So we have a negative subtracting a positive. So that means we're going to get smaller. So negative 2 minus 3, 1, 2, 3, and we get negative 5. Now the next case is very interesting, the next two. We have a positive subtracting a negative. Now this is actually an improper notation to write. We don't write two negatives. What happens is those two negatives change into a positive. So this actually turns into 4 plus 1. So when we do this, we want to do 4 plus 1. So we're here at 4, we add 1, and we get to positive 5. And we have the same scenario right here. We have negative 2 minus negative 5, so we change our two negatives to a positive, and we do negative 2 plus 5. That's going to be in purple. So negative 2, we're going to add 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and we get a positive 3. So there is addition and subtraction of integers.